Okay. Music's all better. I had started it. I started I started recording. Is there no light? I started recording, and then I wanted to change the music, so I started re-recording after I changed the music. I don't know. Like, I'm having an existential crisis. Like, what's going through my head is these. What's up, man? How you doing? These personalities that are forming, but they're not. It's like they've always been there. I just never gave them a name. But it's like, now that I gave them a name, now what do I do with them? Like, they exist in my head. They come out. I mean, I'm a little bit tired now. Like, I don't know if I got the same fucking oomph that I had this morning. But, I mean, I give myself credit. I give myself credit because it's like, how the fuck are you still going? Like, when I go home, I lie in bed, but I'm doing things. I'm writing, I'm thinking, listening to something, learning something. I can't stop. But taking into consideration everything I want to be doing with myself, all of my ambitions, my greater ambitions, it's like, I guess it makes sense. It totally makes sense. I can't complain about it. But then something that just came up is Derek. Like, is Derek the one that's holding me back? Do I have to stop being Derek? Like, who is Derek? I don't even know. I don't know who Derek is. I know who Derek was. But, like, I'm so detached from that persona that it's just like, I don't know if I really want to be that anymore. Whoa. Coming in hot. So, I mean, is that it? Like, just to, like, completely get rid of my identity? Like, what? I mean, granted. Well, you know what's coming to my mind right now is I'm thinking about the Orthodox Jewish people, specifically from northern Jersey, central Jersey, I guess. How these married couples will come here, but their marriage technically isn't recognized in the eyes of this law of the state. So technically they're not married, but they're married. It says that they didn't go through the United States legal process to get married. But then who's Derek? Derek's a name that some people gave me. I mean, I cherish Derek. I love Derek. But there's like this part of Derek that's just like, I can't fucking stand this guy. It's so small. And I don't mean just physically, just small as a fucking entity. It's like, I mean, Derek has some great ideas, but then I wonder, like, are those really Derek's ideas? Because I've known Derek all my life. I see a weak, scared little boy. I see a guy who regrets all of his choices. Who can't be happy with anything. Which is like really fucking depressing. I'm gonna try. Really do. Derek tries. I try to make Derek happy, but I can't make Derek happy. Like, that's... What's Derek? Derek's the vessel. It's like the physical thing. Like, you're looking at Derek, but are you talking to Derek? I really don't know. I can't say for sure. Like I'm thinking about it. Like, are you talking to Derek? Or are you like talking to fucking Toxic or Demon or? Who's who anymore? I mean, the way I've configured it in my mind is Derek's the vessel. Mr. Toxic is he who sits on high. And Mr. Demon is he who sits on the throne below. So, I mean, I got all my bases covered, I feel like. I feel like I got that pretty much solved. Like the key to finding God is to give him a name. But one that's unique to you, to me. I mean, where did Toxic come from in the first place? Because Toxic's been there for, oh boy, at least since I was fucking 17. That was the first time Toxic came to me. Because I was learning how to fucking be a DJ. I was learning how to spin records. And I knew that just from being a fucking raver kid, going to raves and shit, like, I know that all DJs, they got stage names, so I needed a name. But as soon as my friend asked me if I wanted to learn, like, it just came to me. Toxic Shock Syndrome. I liked it because it sounded like it sounded like Toxic Shock Syndrome. And in my head I laughed because I'm like, this sounds like the vagina disease. That's my name. I was so pleased with myself. I was so happy. It was like, that's what I knew. And it just, there was no thought, there was no hesitation. It was just Toxic Shock Syndrome. But it was Toxic Shock Syndrome. Because I remember analyzing it in my head, going, Toxic Shock Syndrome, how do I make that work? And it just, syndrome, yeah, because this body, this vessel, is a drone for sin. That's literally what it was. With all the drugs and all the mayhem and chaos that I worshipped in my life. I mean, I'm not a fucking angel by any stretch of the imagination. I've taken a shit on my neighbor's porch because I was offended that he crossed the street while we were walking down the same sidewalk. This fucking asshole crossed the goddamn street while I'm there. Better fucking cross the street, asshole. And then that motherfucker, one time, him and his wife, they fucking called the cops on me. I was in my condo. It was a fucking snowstorm, blizzard. And I'm out walking my dog at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm drunk. And I see this car that hit the side, that thing. And they fucking blew their tire. So just this part of me, it's like, you have to go help them. And I went over and these two kids fucking sitting in the car. The fucking boyfriend doesn't know how to change a tire. So I offered to help. And I'm out there in the goddamn snow, changing this girl's fucking tire. And then it's right in front of those people's house, their condo. And I see the wife, because we were talking too. Because it's cold. Not gonna fucking sit in the goddamn blizzard, changing someone's tire with my mouth shut the whole time. Not to mention the fact that I've been drinking at 2 o'clock in the morning, so I was drinking probably since I got home, which is probably around like 5 or 6. So I had fucking 6 hours worth of rum and cokes in my system. Fuck you. And then this asshole sticks her head out the window and starts screaming about her baby. Well, you're waking my baby up. Listen, you fat bitch, you don't have a baby, I know. And then her husband stuck his head out the window too. I'm gonna call the cops. You better get your ass back to bed, bud. Otherwise, I'm gonna come in there, I'm gonna put you to bed. I didn't know that was a threat, but it just felt so good coming out of my mouth, saying it to that guy. Because my ex-wife and I, we used to call them Mutt and Jeff. Anytime my nephew, my step-nephew, was going to cause mischief with his friends, I'd just go to Mutt and Jeff's house, go fuck them up. That was the best. God damn it, people. Listen, I'm not ignorant to the fact that I'm an asshole. What's on the other side? Can I have 2 double cheese and 2 chickens, McChickens?
Anything else?
Yeah, water.
Bottled water or just regular water?
Bottled water's cool. And I want that apple pie.
We don't have anyone right now for the night.
Damn it. All right.
That's it?
That's it.
12:11.
That's it. Cool. Thank you. We want that apple pie. Down the McDonald's. No, but I'm just coming up with that, this whole thing now. It's like, I feel like I gotta explore it as much as I can. Hopefully I get an answer. Because I'm not entirely against the idea of... Bye, Derek. I mean, what purpose are you serving at this point, aside from just taking up space in other people's lives? Cool. Thanks, sir. This is some real fucked shit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, maybe this has something to do with laughing about fucking baby rape and fucking torturing people. Like that's the type of shit that I grew up with. In the sense, like, I grew up with that shit in my head. Like, where the fuck is that coming from? What kind of fucking psychopath am I? Or was I as a kid? I used to say all the time, I used to say to myself, like, I'm going to kill myself when I'm 30 because I don't want to give this poisonous blood to a child. Sometimes I rationalize it in my head, like, because, mind you, like, I was listening to The Secrets of Shambhala today, before that last video, and there came a point where the two characters, the villain, well, I guess the perceived villain and the perceived hero, they were having a conversation about how and why things are exactly the way that they are, and what the main character was kind of, his perspective was that of like a divine intelligence behind all of the actions that were taking place, but yet the bad guy, he just couldn't grasp it. He's like, what do you mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why hasn't science figured this out yet? And it was just, and it just kind of got me thinking, because I do believe in a divine intelligence, or something close to it. I mean, clearly, just based on my own experiences, clearly, like, there is a will of the force that's operating behind the scenes, but at the same time, it's like, why? What you doing? And I'm glad that came to my head, the will of the force, because when I'm just kind of thinking about, what was that? Oh, bunny rabbit. I'm just thinking about it, how the Jedi, they have no identities. They really don't. I mean, Obi-Wan Kenobi, there's a name given to him by the Jedi Order, or he picked it out. I don't know how the fuck the Jedi's come up with their name, but I know that they're taken as children so that they don't have an identity, and so that their brains are more easily shaped into who the Jedi need them to be, desire them to be. But then you have people like the Sith who just completely let go of whoever the fuck they were. I mean, look at Vader, or even Palpatine, or even Plagueis. Like, Plagueis, well, I like Plagueis the most because he was the only one who kind of like held on to his non-Sith identity. But, I mean, look what happened to him. And then Palpatine, he just was. That guy was a force of fucking nature. But then you have someone like Vader, who killed himself to be someone else. Like, that guy's got it rough. Like, I wouldn't want to be in that fucking position, even though I feel like I have been, and I feel like I am, because the further I go along in my own path, like, the more I wonder sometimes, because I remember it was like maybe a year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where I decided to stay up all night. And the reason I wanted to do that was because something told me that I would be able to think a little bit differently. Because my brain would be in a different space. And it made sense, and yeah, it worked. But I remember thinking, like, who's Derek? Who the fuck is this guy? Derek is a label that was put on me by two people without my permission. And Toxic has always been there, just kind of sitting behind the scenes, like behind the mask. Like, who's Toxic? That's my soul's name. But now, throwing into this whole divine intelligence into this, it's like, well, I had to go through all of the experiences that I went through to have been put in positions where I needed to even learn about Toxic in the first place, and then even nurture him. Or maybe Mr. Demon is taking over for Mr. Toxic. I don't that could be a thing too. Maybe Toxic's the one that's holding me back, and it's like Mr. Demon's the one that's got to come out. And then who knows? Maybe it's just gonna lead me right back around again to being Derek. And maybe that's, well, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, maybe that's a way of looking at it, is kind of taking the best of both worlds and mushing them together. Because if you look at Plagueis, what the hell is his name? Hugo Damask, right? Uncle Hugo. But he had part of his life, he was Hugo. He had to be, because he had a career that was funding, he had a hobby that was funding his Sith activities. He was completely sovereign. But he still had that added stress of his regular life that was weighing on him. Sidious was able to merge the two into one, because he just didn't give a fuck. Because he could do whatever the fuck he wanted, whenever the fuck he wanted to do it. So, but I mean, it's good to be the king. But what if there was a way to have Derek, Demon, and Toxic all kind of operating at the same time? Just one. I mean, you never know. They all just live under the moniker of Derek. It's like when you're talking to Derek, you're talking to Toxic, and you're talking to Mr. Demon. So maybe it's like, I mean, they all mean the same thing. It's just different spectrums of the one thing, right? I mean, obviously, like, the human race is not capable of grasping a lot of this. When I had that higher self session last Friday, and the girl that I was working with, she was, I didn't give her much of a background prior. I think after the session was done, she had a much better idea of who I was. But it all started, she asked me about the higher self, and I said, well, or she said, I think she might have said, oh, maybe we'll ask them their name. And I said, his name's Toxic. And she didn't catch it at first, but then a second time it came up, and I was like, no, his name is Toxic. And then I was like, I was kind of like a little bit weirded out that I even said that, but her response was even more interesting, because she was like, huh? They told you its name is Toxic? Yeah. And he has a counterpart, Miss Kitty. Because once you get into the metaphysics of consciousness, you gotta recognize both the masculine and the feminine at the same time. But now, I don't know if it's turned on for everybody like the way it is for me. Because this just came online last week because of this online reader that I've been following named Amina. But at the fucking same time, if you mirror her name is Animus. Anima. And the anima is exactly what I've been working on unlocking. I just didn't know the name of it. I mean, I know what the anima, I know it's a thing. So I started realizing, like, holy shit, because her readings were going like way deeper than any other ones I've ever had. But I just knew what it was going on. So when I was writing about it, I wrote her name down, and then I'm like, wait, her name mirrored as Anima. Did she just turn on my anima? Did she help me just turn on my anima? And now, mind you, I have a name for it. It's the feminine aspect called Miss Kitty. And Miss Kitty and Toxic are like husband and wife. It's Miss Kitty and Toxic Rex Draconis. So I have a whole fucking, like, they got last names, middle names, even Mr. Demon King. And Miss Hellfire Queen. His last name is King, her last name is Queen. And it's like, I get that, that's so perfect. Because we're Toxic Rex and Miss Kitty Draconis, like, where they're like twin flamey type of things. They're two that make one. Mr. Demon and Miss Hellfire, they're like their own separate thing. It's like, I'm not going to call you my boyfriend, I'm not going to call you my girlfriend, but you are. Like, which is fucked up, because I kind of feel like that's... I'm not going to lie, I kind of feel like that's the fucking situation I'm even in. I'm not going to call you my boyfriend, I'm not going to call you my girlfriend, but we're just going to, like, pretend that it's not there. God, I can't wait for tomorrow. She's going through, she's having a fucking double return tomorrow of Mars and Venus at the exact same time. I've never even fucking heard of this shit. This is an anomaly in fucking astrology that I've never even considered before. Fascinating. This is like the most fascinating woman I've ever encountered. And her chart's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, aside from mine. That's my fun. Yeah. Yeah, Derek. That's a thing. Maybe. I mean, maybe I need to start thinking about what I want Derek's life to look like. Right? Have a regular life, an evil guy life, and a love guy life. And that's another thing. That's so fucking weird, man. The other day, a couple days after Mr. Demon kind of developed a little bit, because Mr. Demon just popped up last Thursday. He's only a week old tomorrow. Ms. Hellfire just showed up a couple days ago. And I was listening to this song by these artists, Evil Intent, EVOL. So it kind of just popped in my head as I was writing about all this. Toxic Rex and Miss Kitty Draconis, they are LOVE. Mr. Demon and Miss Hellfire, they love each other so much it's EVOL. This is so cool. It is really cool. Not gonna lie. But I always have cool ideas, so it's... No, that's not true. It's not like... That's actually a really awesome idea. I love it. I love that too. Thank you. Love and light, evil and darkness. LOVE and light, EVOL and darkness. That's so cool. Think of it like yin yang and a yang yin. I'll say that again. Think of it like a yin yang and a yang yin. They're not the same. Let's stop making it about masculine and feminine now. Forwards and backwards. I fucking love McDonald's. Well, that's a good point. Because if I'm that kind of person that can hold 4 different personas in my head, 5, I mean, I don't think I would be able to be with a regular woman. Unless women naturally can have multiple personalities. Personas. Well, maybe that is real. That's a fun idea. Maybe there's just... Maybe I got too many. And the other ones need some space. Have some courtesy for the viewer and chew with your mouth shut. Fuck you. Or wait until you're not recording. This way people don't have to sit through this shit. Don't sit through it. Or do. I feel like this is all going to be cleared up in a couple days. So don't worry about it. It's not a cry for help. This is like a... I think it's more of a declaration.